Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Veronica Campos here. I do videos about real estate in my life, and today I am doing a fun little video. I'm just gonna show you guys my favorite podcast as a mom, entrepreneur, realtor, just the podcast that I listen to the most. I have 10 of them, so it's a lot of them, but I love listening to podcasts when I'm in the car, when I'm cleaning, when I'm showering, when I am getting my nails done, everything. I listen to a podcast. So I'm excited for this video. If it's your first time here, then welcome. I hope you subscribe to my channel if you like videos about real estate and just my life. I do videos about my life, just everything that I absolutely love. I do videos about it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. So I listen to my podcast on the podcast app on Apple. It's just called podcast. They're all my absolute favorites, so there's no specific order. I love them all the same. So the first one is the Tom Ferry podcast experience. I have listened to every single podcast on his. I've listened to all of the episodes on every single podcast that I'm gonna show you today. If you're a realtor or a lender, this podcast, I think you'll really like it. It just has, ever since I listened to this podcast, my business has grown so much in real estate. Just the advice they give you, I also implement everything that he talks about, and he brings guest speakers to talk about everything, business planning. So let me read to you what the about is. Greatness lives within us all, but have you taped into yours, or is it stuck inside you? Top-ranked real estate and business coach Tom Ferry life's work is all about helping people fulfill their vast untapped potential. The Tom Ferry podcast experience will give you the knowledge, support, motivation, and tools to succeed in business and achieve your true potential. Every Monday, you'll get a quick, under 5-minute dose of all-important mindset and motivation. On Tuesdays, you'll receive audio from the legendary weekly Tom Ferry show. Each Wednesday brings you the Tom Ferry podcast experience, in-depth, original episodes spanning everything from illuminating guests to inspiring keynote speeches to hands-on business training. We'll wrap up the week every Thursday with some fun and enlightening TBT lessons and guidance that are as relevant today as when first presented. The Tom Ferry podcast experience is designed to help you grow, achieve more, earn more, and ultimately fulfill the greatness within you. So yeah, really good podcast. 10 out of 10. Next podcast is Being Boss, right here. Being Boss. This, I just really like it because it talks all about business. It's like a little business school. You learn of like how to grow your business. I'm gonna read a couple of titles. Finding your vision in business and life, testing and change mindset, why your marketing should be different, is hustle good or bad, building legacy with Ella Livingston. You can hear from the titles, they're just really good. It's just like a business partner, and she even says it. She just talks all about finding your vision in business, entrepreneurship, and yeah, 10 out of 10 as well. The next podcast that I really love is the Gary Vee audio experience. Is just, I like that his podcasts aren't long, so whenever I need something quick to motivate me, I just listen to him. And I just really like the way Gary Vee thinks. Like, he just thinks outside the box, and he's always like one step ahead of the world. Like, he knows what's gonna be big next, so I really like to listen to him as well. Here's the Gary Vee. Next podcast I like is Gold Digger. Gold Digger by Jenna Kutcher. I'm gonna read to you a little bit on this one. I'm not gonna read the summary on all of them, it would just be too long. Let's see. Is your business legal? I don't mean to scare you here. My question is really, have you thought about the legal considerations that come with starting a business? Permits and licenses, contracts and agreements, trademarks, copyrights, intellectual property, and beyond. It's all part of the entrepreneur journey, and if there's any advice I want you to take, it's this: start your business on the right legal footing from day one. So this just talks about like things that you should know as a business owner, and I really like that. I have taken a lot of steps since I'm growing to make sure that I'm secure, that my family is secured. So I really like this podcast. I did learn a lot. My next one, it's a really fun podcast whenever I just need my day to get brightened, or like I just want to be in a good mood. I listen to The Good Life with Stevie and Sazan. This podcast, I really like it because their parents, they just talk about fun things. They're very positive. There's really no negativity. Like, they don't talk trash about no one. It's like a positive podcast, and that's the kind of podcast I like. They just talk about everything: motherhood, the internet, what's going on good on the world. They do like fun little things here and there, and I really like this podcast. It's just really fun to listen to. The next podcast is Big Money Energy with Ryan Serhant. If you guys know him. He's like the real estate agent of social media. He is the one that inspired me to like start my YouTube, and he has been very successful with social media. A lot of people have like a negative, especially like older agents have like a negative thing about marketing social media. They think like it doesn't work, but it actually does work. But I really like this podcast. I love his personality. He's very like motivating. He has come so far in life, which is nice to hear that, you know, they come from the bottom. And he interviews like CEOs and like major people, so it's always nice to learn from like big people on how they got there and what you can implement and what kind of advice. I just love listening to podcasts because it's free information. Like, it's free school. Like, this is better than school. Learning and from actual real life CEOs and big agents and major people is nice. Next podcast is the Rachel Hollis podcast. I really like this podcast because it just brings a lot of positivity. She always talks about morning routines. She talks about the law of attraction, which I'm a lot into. She talks about random things that you wonder about your business. She's also the author of like a couple books that I really like. So yeah, I really like her. She's a lot into the law of attraction, and I believe in that a lot. So I like listening to that podcast. The next podcast is Woman Inspiring Woman with Melanie Mitro. I've actually had the chance to talk to her on Instagram, and she is really nice, and she has grown her social media a lot. So I really like the advice she gives about like growing your business on social media, so I listen to her. The next podcast I really like is Unfiltered Motherhood podcast. I really like this podcast with Jamie McLaughlin. I have been trying to be a better mom. I'm not saying I'm a bad mom, but I really want to not bring things from my childhood like into my life now. So I want to create new things that my kids don't take on. So I really like this podcast. She just talks about everything motherhood. So yeah. The last podcast is Business Unusual with Barbara Corcoran. I don't know how to say it, but she was a really big real estate agent in New York City. She's the entrepreneur. She's in Shark Tank, and she interviews other entrepreneurs that are big. She also talks about like how to invest. It's just really good. And spell motivation without B. This week I get personal with entrepreneur Gary V. We chat about his upbringing, raising a family, and what keeps him up at night. Plus he tells me what he really thinks of entry-level salaries. That's it. Those are my 10 favorite podcasts. Like I said, I absolutely love listening to podcasts. If you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to listen. I'm always looking for some good podcasts. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe.